Do you hear me?
I just started recording.
Okay, you can present. Or is Juhi back?
She's here. Yeah.
Oh.
If she's ready, she can
Yeah,
share.
yeah, Juhi can present.
Oh. I think she needs a few more minutes to log in, so. Oh, it's okay. By the way, Dr. Shi, until when are you available today? How many hours do we have so far? Like for this meeting?
10 o'clock is my patient discussion meeting.
10 o'clock?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be long because we have Memorial Day,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't have patients.
Okay.
Memorial Day is a holiday.
Wait, before I do this, I have a question. Do
Mhm.
you want me to just present the whole thing and then ask you questions after, or do you want me to ask you questions as I go along?
As you go along.
Okay, so I have a question about this Prisma table, the last section, included section. So, um, so some of the studies that we included in our analysis are derived from the databases, but there are some that I additionally searched for by going into the company website. So like 5 articles were not from our database. This was from like outside sources.
Which article?
Like articles, 5 articles from like the different companies, the smaller companies that I had to actually like manually go into their um websites and then look for the journals that they published or anything. And
Yeah, so
those
they
were
were
not
not searchable by the search criteria.
apparently no.
And do you know the reason for it?
I did not.
So did they not contain the words that you were looking for?
Um,
In my mind, they have to be somewhere PubMed, Cochrane, Embase. If they contain any of the word, if they did not contain the word,
mhm,
then they're, we need to understand why.
yeah. So, some did not, and I had to add them later on.
Hmm.
I guess because they didn't use the word like multi-cancer or like early detection. They did like detection of early stage. Um,
Hmm.
so I like looked for it outside, so I wasn't exactly sure how to include it in the Prisma diagram.
I would just say that these are the search terms. And then just write another sentence. We also searched for the websites of any diagnostic company um, that is involved in this field or some and
Okay.
found relevant. So you have to
My
add it somewhere in the, yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. So, like, I think what happened was that because this is such a new field, they don't have like a term that's coined
Mm,
for search engines. So
mm,
every company just presents it differently.
mm,
And I think that's why like bigger companies like Grail or like CancerSeek or like Pensier, like these were searchable because they used the terms that other companies use. But like the smaller companies or like the newer companies, they use a little bit different terms, which are not often used and which was not considered.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, okay, I could do that.
Mhm.
I will maybe just like put a star on it and then just explain in the
Yeah,
method section.
that's fine.
Okay, sounds good. And then this is our PICO. Participants are the general population. Intervention is blood-based multi-cancer screening. Comparison is the different methods of screening. And then we're trying to look at if, any are FDA approved, which I don't think so, but we're gonna double check. Outcome is the detection of cancer in the form of sensitivity, specificity, AUC, or any other results that each trial reports. And this is our inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. Inclusion, we looked at 10 years, language in English, full text articles, human subjects, uh, control studies, validation studies, multi-cancer, blood-based, asymptomatic population. Exclusion were like duplicates, those that only had abstracts, those without full text, irrelevant topic, letters or notes or review articles, preprints, those were all excluded. Single cancer screenings were excluded. Anything that's not blood-based was excluded. Anything with a population number that was too small was excluded. Um, Anything without clinically relevant conclusion, like anything that reported no association was excluded. When data isn't reported, we excluded that too. And if the population was screened with other diagnostic tool, for example, like if they saw a nodule on CT scans and then subsequently performed the assay, then we excluded those too. And if they only dealt with cancer patients and did not present any control group, that's like healthy individuals, then we excluded those studies too.
So that's for case control only, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I
Oh,
think
I should
you
mention
should
it.
say for case
Yeah,
control studies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, irrelevant topic is kind of really broad. Like,
Should I say pickle or something?
huh?
Not abiding by PICO or something like that. Like irrelevant topic meant like something. Actually, I don't know. Should I take that off? Because that kind of I talked about it later on, like not
Yeah,
blood-based or cancer
yeah,
screening.
because that's
Okay.
yeah, because yeah, I think yeah, that's so abstract. You can take it out.
Okay. Sounds good. Then this is our search strategy. They only require the search term, so the only the first paragraph will be included, in my opinion. Um, yeah, I'm gonna move on. Then excluded full text articles will already was amazing enough to sort them all out into a really nice document. I screenshotted a couple, but it's a longer document, so they
Mm,
basically list out why we excluded certain full text articles.
mm,
Um, our results, all the studies that were included, 14 studies, yielded a total population of 44,000 patients and healthy individuals. Most studies were case control. ctDNA related study is the majority. There were 7 studies
mhm.
discussing it. Some studies dealt with the expression of these biomarkers. 2 studies actually, so that was like interesting. And then we will
Well, but
conduct,
this was without ctDNA.
yeah,
This-
without ctDNA. These 2 studies only dealt with these 2 biomarkers.
Mm,
Uh, and then a meta-analysis, we're gonna do 2 or maybe 3 after talking to you yesterday. But we'll try it out. So for sure, we're gonna do a subgroup meta-analysis on 3 studies that deal with more than 5 cancer types, deal with all stages, and ctDNA methylation only. And then we'll do like a more general meta-analysis with like any study that's ctDNA related. Um, we might relax the condition for stages
Yep.
and do stages 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, include both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that would maybe be like 6 or 7 studies, but I'll have to read through them all over again and then compare and decide. Um, yeah, so this is our tabulated result table. Um, so basically, we just did author year, type of study, type of screening test, type of cancer, sample number, divided it by patient control, and then the median or mean age, the sex distribution, and their key results. So this will be for the narrative studies, and for the meta-analysis studies, I will make a separate table and just list out the sensitivity, specificity like separately. Um, yeah. So that was the
So
plan,
median age
but
was not presented for the first study?
so this was the first um draft of the table, and where there are a lot of like NAs, so we're gonna go through that. We're gonna go over that with Arnie
Okay.
this week because like there are some that has like NAs, and I didn't. But I was gonna read all the 14 all over again anyways, so I'm just gonna work with Arnie onto like making the table like more valid, I guess. Um, yeah,
So
but Eileen did this. This is amazing. Like,
yeah, and
yeah,
then methodology has
hmm
to be more, I guess, in
yeah,
uniform format. You have,
yeah, yeah. So
it's all, yeah.
I will reread everything actually.
I would say, if it's ctDNA, you can say number one, fragment size, number two, copy number, number three, methylation.
Hmm
What aspect of ctDNA did it
Yeah,
look at?
yeah, I
But
agree.
you have to have a, uniform format, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Same thing with sensitivity specificity, like make sure all the columns use same format. And then rather than a sentence, like your sensitivity, equals something, comma, specificity, like make,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it has
Yeah, I
to
get what
be
you mean.
uniform. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So there's we'll work on those, and this is what I said before. CancerSeq was initially not included because they used ctDNA and standard biomarkers and only dealt with stages 1 to 3. But then I talked with you yesterday, so we're
Yeah,
gonna relax the rules a little and
yeah,
then just mention it in like the method section slash the results section.
right. So cancer seek is which one? The out of five?
I did not include it in this.
Oh, so you
Yeah,
can.
because I have to reread it and then like in detail first. So because
Uh,
they have two studies and I need to reread it and decide if those two studies can both be included if they use the same population or if they use different population. Because
mm.
gallery studies used a different population, which is why we included both.
Right, it has to be
Yeah,
population based.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll like double check on that before including it up there.
Yeah. So for Juhi and Arnie, this would be a good opportunity for you to learn the basics of meta-analysis.
Hmm
Eugene is the expert, so learn
Yes,
from her.
I have been begging Eugene,
Yes.
relying on her completely to teach me to teach me her ways.
Yeah, but I will give
Um, this is risk of bias assessment, beautifully made by Sally. Um, so we're gonna add articles to this um, because I assigned a new article to Richard, so we're gonna add that up here. Um, but yeah, so this looks great, and I'm gonna specify what each domain is, like further in the method section.
Yeah, this is trivial, but et al has to be always italic.
Oh, okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, and then if he in the manuscript, and this is all for you guys, protein is always in small letters, and
Oh,
the let's say the gene,
mhm,
let's say TP53,
Mhm.
If that's a protein, you write P53 in small letters. But if it's gene, you write it all in capital letters, and then it has to be all italic. Like,
Oh,
let's say
okay.
EGFR has to be all italic. Just, just a simple rule for
Uh-huh.
scientific writing. Yeah.
Oh, wow, thank you. I didn't know. Okay. I was gonna just ask her to arrange this alphabetically. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, okay.
Or by
By
year.
date?
Year is better. Year.
Okay. What about the table, the result table? Would you prefer that to be arranged by year?
Can you show me it again? Studies. Is this only 5?
No, 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 there's more.
There's more, right?
Yeah,
How many are in your table?
14.
14. Okay. Yeah, I think year sounds fine.
Okay.
And
Or by screening test? You
screening.
want us to bunch up the ctDNA and like together?
Oh, the other thing is maybe case control first and then cohort study and then by year.
Oh, okay. Case control and cohort
Yeah,
and then by year.
yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Um, Conclusion, we're still working on it. Discussion is what you told us last time. So we're gonna talk about how this is like a first comprehensive systematic review, and we're trying to improve meta-analysis. Um, and uh, and then we're gonna talk about how there's a lot of different technology available for the screening, and of all those technology that uses ctDNA seems to be the main platform. A lot of multi-omics approach is being tested out too, as shown by CancerSeek and Delphi. Um, um, some some are some multi-omics approaches used with like newer technologies only, but some Delphi was interesting in that they tried to use the existing technology in addition to the newer technology.
Yes.
So they use the PET-CT scans in addition to their new technology. So that was interesting, and I'm gonna mention it. And most published studies are case controls with multiple trials that are ongoing. So I'll mention the trials like the ones by Guardant for Lunar 2 and things. Um, and then I'll go on to talk about like 23andMe. Um, we need to discuss like how to help patients navigate the results, what the role of the society is, what the role of the patient is, the
Yes.
primary care physician, and then we'll talk somewhat about the health economics issue, where if it's actually like feasible for the general population, or if it's better when targeted to a high risk population in terms of like economic uh, allocation, I guess.
Right. And maybe because this is a review, I want you to add one sentence that, feasibility, accessibility is also an issue. Because, if you are lucky to have PCP who's interested in this and then offer you, then if you have a PCP who's not interested in these high-tech things, not updated, you're not going to be offered, right? So or if you don't follow up with PCP, I mean, not many Americans don't, surprisingly, like don't do annual checkup, right?
Yeah.
So it's other places like, I don't know, like should be able to offer them this. And we said, like for like blood donation, Red Cross is, where you're already getting blood drawn and then you're already getting blood, recipient blood donations centers could be used to have these tests, offered to them. Things like that. You could put in like one sentence, like that's an issue and that's one idea.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and then this is how we do, like, and then when we actually launch a project for blood screening for these population, then we can cite this paper and cite the sentence. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This is how we claim ourselves as an expert in the field.
Okay. That was it for my presentation. So updates. Um, I assigned Richard a new article that we're gonna include in our analysis. I asked Arnie to help finalize the tables. Um, Eugene will be helping out with the meta-analysis. Um, Zuni has already written like part of the intro and like a paragraph of the discussion, and she's gonna continue helping out with that. Liam is gonna help out with writing too. And I have decided to continue this project even if I will be in Korea. So I'll see if you publish. I was gonna like give it off to someone, but then like I can't give my knowledge off to someone. Then they'll have to start it all over again from the beginning. So that's not feasible. So I'll be doing Tangjik, and I'll just take my computer when I'm at Tangjik because then I'll just work on research. So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's what's gonna happen. But I asked Liam if he could be in charge of um coordinating the undergrads if they're work because everyone else won't be in lab, and if undergrads have any questions, I was gonna direct them to Liam if I'm not available because of the time difference.
yes.
Okay, that's all I have for you.
Good. Yeah. I was hoping for more like results, but well, anyway, it's well, besides meta-analysis, I think you should like in the results, like what's your main message here, and how would this paper impact the field?
Mhm.
Um,
Like
think about it.
I felt like from I haven't I read through all the papers once, but then I need to read it again. But from what I got out of it, uh, like I'm not completely sure about a standalone screening test, but then I feel like if we focus it on the high risk population and use it as an added platform to the existing screening test, like this would give an added benefit. Uh, so I feel I am
Yeah, so
leaning
those are
towards
all
that. Yeah.
valid message. So, and I told you this before, one is, we have a screening tool. If we add it, and then some people refuse it. They don't want to do CT scan annually. They don't want to do colonoscopy or EGD.
Mm.
Um, and people are going to be non-compliant, but they might just come for regular cholesterol drug, whatever it is they get, and they should be offered blood tests to complement their
Yeah.
non-compliance, or
Yeah.
even if they get it, it's not perfect. So, so that's number one. So, and the number two, you have to mention for disease like pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, we have no good screening tool. We don't have existing tool that is effective.
Mm.
So for those, this is a very high unmet need, and even a little bit of help is going to be meaningful. So that's another big area of discussion.
Okay.
And I think we could be optimistic because like I told you, for someone who's been following this field of ctDNA, it was a field of obstetrics. It was just to find a fetal DNA without doing amniocentesis. And people thought about,
Mhm.
application outside fetal DNA.
Yeah.
And now we've come along to get Gallery tests now commercial.
Mhm.
So for me, this is a formidable speed. This is something that I've never thought this would happen so fast.
Mhm.
So we can't look at this like, oh, this is not a perfect test. No, no, we have nothing.
That's
And this
true.
is where we are. So we need to have the sense of awe and exhilaration.
That's true. I guess this would also make sense and like um the communities that do not have access to like big hospitals that would offer CT
Right.
scans or like
Exactly.
colonoscopy. Like a lot of clinics would offer blood draws, so like
Right.
that would be like a just because America is huge. Like,
Right. So
yeah.
yeah, for underprivileged population, this would be, a simple way to start the screening, and then maybe a better solution to access issues, healthcare access issues. So um yeah, you come from a policy background, Juhi. So this and then like if you read 23andMe and who owns the
Yeah.
data and
Mm,
healthcare access and what's the cost, what's cost effective,
mhm.
there's going to be many articles written by professors in healthcare economics. Okay, so
Oh,
you're more than welcome to read those and cite them in your discussion.
oh, okay. I could
That's
do
your
that.
that's your strength. So this is not just bioinformatics review,
Mhm.
but in their discussion you can write about anything. Okay, that's the beauty. So this is more like a perspective building. That's what we always do in book club.
Mhm.
This is like a perspective building review paper so that when people read this, they're like, wow, there's so many aspects to this. And this is how far we've come along, and this is where we are.
Mhm.
Uh, and and then there's a meta-analysis to show that if you pull the data, this still shows pretty good performance. So and then one more thing comment is I want, because a lot of uh, uh, um, papers will say detection rate.
Yeah, they do.
And you have to define what it is. It's, most likely it's sensitivity. So many papers you say, but then you have to say what the denominator is. So if it's is a detection out of all cases, if it's a prospective cohort study, it's not all cases. It's out of the population is the
Mhm.
detection
Mhm.
rates, right? So you cannot compare case control detection rate to a cohort study detection rate. Those are not the same
Oh,
thing, right?
yeah.
So um, case control, but the sensitivity and specificity is a same index, whether which, but detection rate's gonna change by study. So you have to compare the right, numbers, and you have to define them, and you need to show,
Mhm.
I would say, detection rates for case control studies, and then detection rates for cohort studies. I think you should separate them, and maybe I'm thinking maybe because specificity is important, uh, but sensitivity is what's going to set. I guess the detection rate
Yeah,
is what people are going, like. If you need one number to say what's the performance,
that's
you're
true.
not giving specificity. You're giving sensitivity or the detection rate. So detection rate in cohort study is not sensitivity, right? So I think detection rate in case control studies and detection rate in cohort studies, maybe you can have like a bar graph, so that people can visualize, and you can just line studies up, 14 studies by the detection rate. But you have to separate case control and cohort studies so that the detection rates can be kind of visualized.
Okay.
People are not good in like looking at, they won't like look at the paper and like, what, follow the columns in 14 study table, but it's always better to visualize if you can do it. And then I also told you about a figure, right?
Yeah.
Conceptual figure.
Do
uh,
you know anyone in the lab who's
Sally's really good. And I know Eugene Kim is good, but I think he's also busy. He's
Okay,
really good.
I'll
But
look up.
I think Seungmi would be good. She's interested in art. Maybe Arnie could be good.
Okay.
I don't know. Sebin might be good. Sebin has a particular interest in art.
Oh, you do? Oh, wow.
Yeah, her hobby is drawing. So
Wow.
yeah, she could be
Okay.
a good artist for figure one.
Wow. That sounds really. Okay, I will ask her.
Yeah.
I wasn't exactly sure what kind of drawing we would want yet.
Yeah, look at other review papers. I mean, I can, like
Yeah.
blood CT, you can blood vessel blood, and you can put, like protein, ctDNA, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the population, I don't know, just just get some ideas with other review papers. It's, the idea is we use all different omics to find the ctDNA at early stage.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we're almost there, and I'm glad you want to carry this on, and I think it should be done in next couple of weeks.
It will
Uh,
be. It has to be.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, we have all the pieces together, and I think you have the idea now, right? You have the grand scheme, and Lancet wants it, right?
Yes. So far. So we
Yeah.
need to hurry
Yeah,
before
and
the
then
finish
you
line.
you, you never know if there's someone else who's like working on similar things.
Okay. Um, can I show you something? Sorry. Is this something that you were talking about? Something like that?
That's multi-omics.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how the. I'll look into it. I'm still a little confused, but yeah, I'll look into it.
Yeah, and then sometimes you don't have to have, like, you can have a person, and then you can have a need, blood coming from blood vessel, and then you can have, like, ctDNA, protein, or
Arnie says she can, so
yeah.
okay, we'll figure it out if there is a nice picture to sum it all up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go to the meeting, so
Okay.
we'll wrap up this. Yeah, you can start. Yep.
Okay, so for Seungmi's project, MRD project,
Yeah.
I have just one question. So I analyzed the data of 33 patients.
Mm,
The results were fantastic, I think. The Signatera predicted the prognosis very well,
mhm.
including overall and progression-free survival. But the thing is, I kind of have a hard time to define a persistent MRD positive group. So let me pull up my screen. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Mhm.
hold on. I have to return this call, urgent. So,
Oh,
Zoom.
sorry. Yeah, thank you. So, so if you see this data set, we classify all the patients in terms of MRD status. We try to classify them using two criteria. We consider we have this MRD tab, which we consider whether. So we basically put number one, whether if the patient has positive MRD results, regardless of the time point. So it could be either pre-MRD or post-MRD. But we try
What pre-MRD?
only pre-MRD. Do you have to consider MRD positive as only pre-MRD? Because MRD, I think it's general. We try to include all the patients who have pre or post-MRD.
So what does it mean to be pre-MRD? I don't know what it means.
Oh, yeah, okay. So pre-MRD means the MRD done before initiation of curative treatment.
So that's not called MRD. MRD, do you know
Oh.
the definition of MRD?
Minimal residual disease.
Yeah,
Oh, but then,
that means that MRD, it makes sense only after curative treatment.
even
You
though
can
they got
say pre-curative treatment, blood draw.
yeah, some patients.
There's no such thing as pre-MRD.
Oh,
So
okay.
pre-curative treatment blood draw level doesn't mean anything.
Okay, but that can be used when we consider persistent MRD, right?
No,
No, not even for that. Okay.
not even for that.
Okay, so we made TAP as pre-MRD based on the first Signatera date, and we compare that date with curative treatment date. So if, let's say, if a patient, maybe we can look at this patient. Not Sabino Vaquez, like the patient's first Signatera date is after curative date. So okay, so then we can delete the pre-MRD tab because we're not using, that's not make sense. That doesn't make sense, pre-MRD.
So it
So yeah,
so
then
why is pre-MRD 1 for this patient?
I think it's an error. Yeah, it should be coded as 0.
So now I worry about the integrity of the data. We pick random patient and then we have error.
Yeah, that's true. But I think pre-MRD, most of patients are NA, like apparently don't have any Signatera before curative treatment. So yeah, I will go through again these patients in terms of pre-MRD decision.
So I don't like the term pre-MRD. It doesn't make any sense. So you can say baseline, pre-surgery or pre-radiation or pre-treatment baseline.
Pre-treatment.
It's not MRD. MRD only makes sense when there is no radiographic evidence of disease. When disease is cured, you're only following the molecular burden of the patient.
But yeah,
That's MRD. If you still have the tumor active in your body,
mhm,
whatever you draw, you should not be calling it MRD.
okay, got it. Okay, then we will only consider the MRD assay done after curative treatment.
So what I'm saying is you can say ctDNA assay,
Mhm.
pre-treatment. The word MRD should only be used after curative treatment.
Got it.
Now, you can argue that pre-treatment ctDNA level may correlate with recurrence, and that may be true too. What we're trying to show here is post-treatment
Mhm.
MRD. Is it positive first draw? Is it positive at the second draw? Or is it positive all throughout?
Okay, okay.
So that's defined as persistent. It might be one time and cleared. It might be coming up later. It might be always positive.
Mhm.
That's where persistency of MRD is defined. It has nothing to do with the baseline.
Oh, got it. Yeah, thank you for making it clear. So, as you pointed out, so for my question is, if let's say if a patient had only one signatory result after curative treatment and that was positive, and if that's all, you would say MR. How can I code that patient? So
So
for the
MRD positive is post-curative treatment at any given point of time.
uh-huh.
That MRD is positive, then you're positive.
Okay, but when if some patients have multiple MRD assay, then I want to code someone as persistent MRD positive, then the denominator would be the patients who have multiple tests, right?
So persistent has to be at least 2
At least-
positive,
yeah.
with most recent being positive. It's not cleared up.
Mhm.
So you can define it at least 2 positive, with most recent one being positive as well. But it has to be MRD. It doesn't have anything to do with baseline
Fine.
treatment.
I think in that case, I need to do the analysis again, because if you see this, like as of now, I consider all patients as a denominator when I code for persistent MRD, but I think I need to take off some patients because for them there's only one MRD assay. So I think in that case, those are not eligible for considering a persistent MRD status because they have only one result. Am I correct to understand that way?
Right.
Okay, got it. Yeah, for this patient, he's important because he showed progression during this time. Okay, so let me ask this question. So he got curative treatment far before April 29th, 2021, apparently.
Uh-huh.
And his MRD was positive after curative treatment at this point, at this specific time. And he was detected to have progression around this time, but it was detected before. It was detected on March 2021. But his very first MRD was done April 29. I coded him as MRD positive because his MRD was so close to his progression detection. But obviously he got cleared after detection, after being detected to have progression. So how would you code this patient? For me, like I would take him as MRD positive, but not persistent MRD positive.
So when was he diagnosed with progression of disease? What date?
What date?
Or just give me a ballpark.
Oh, March 2021.
Was the progression?
Yeah.
So that
I can look it up. He's here. He's this case. Progression date, sorry, April 6th. And his first Signatera was done in April 29th, which is pretty close. So I rather call him as MRD positive. But his MRD got cleared on,
Do you know why it was cleared? Did he get treatment?
yeah, he got started on immunotherapy after diagnosed on after detecting on progression from May.
Okay, so that's close enough so you can call him progression, but it's not cleared automatically. It's cleared because of treatment.
True, true.
So when new therapy started, you are censored.
Oh,
So that ctDNA is not MRD anymore. Thank you. That is a stage 4 disease. Okay,
got it. When,
so the rest of the ctDNA assay is not MRD assay anymore.
got it. When patient got, sorry, I just want to make it clear. So when patient got treated with treated for progression, that patient has censored that from that time point, right?
Yeah. So you treat as if there's no more test.
Okay. And this patient cannot be included in the MRD persistent group, right? Because his MRD got cleared. So, so
It's
Dr.
not cleared, it's censored. It will have only one time point.
Yeah, but I think we can consider this MRD positive for our analysis.
Yes.
But I'm asking you that whether I could include him as persistent MRD positive or not.
You cannot because there's only one time point.
Okay, got it. Yeah, okay. I think I have to do reanalysis in that case because I got a little bit of misconception on persistent MRD definition. So,
Oh, did Seungmi not do sign out to you?
no, we discussed like definition of it, but yeah, I think she's in charge of this project as of now, up until now, because she can join out. She said she can join the lab meeting and she can be a leader of this project. So honestly, I hasn't been signed out for this project. Like she hasn't signed out this project to me. And I'm just in charge of analyzing data and data set, but I can get signed out from her.
Yeah, I think you need to get signed out because she'll start at residency very soon.
Okay.
And I don't know where we are with the manuscript.
Manuscript, I think she shared about the status yesterday. She delegate introduction to, I think, the undergraduate students, and me and Juhi wrote about the method part because I did analysis. So, and for discussion, she's still working on, that's my guess.
I wrote up the results too.
Results, okay. Yeah, but I'll make sure about the manuscript status and then,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so for like hyperprogression risk factor, yeah, I run the analysis for UNOS data.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, I deleted death factor from the analysis. And the one thing that I want to discuss with you is that if you see the like observation number,
Mhm.
based on what factor I consider, the numbers varies a lot. So if I consider, if I want to, if I collect, sorry, if I selected like the PD, the category, it means categorized PDL1 from tumor sample. So if I consider this factor, because not many patients have this data, number of observations went down to 70, around 70. But if I did not select that variable, the number of observations is around 160, right? So there are, so I think if we want to consider this PDL1 status, I think it's better for us to recollect them. And according to that factor, the results are also vary. So PD1 means the regimen of PD1, like Pembro. So I sorted out patients depending on the ICI regimen they received, PD1 or PDL1 inhibitor. And for some analysis, it showed up as significantly affected to the hyperprogression, and platelet level and then brain meta sometimes appear to be a factor. And depending on the model, like bone meta or ICI-B means they get another therapy other than ICI, such as a chemo or targeted therapy that also showed up as significantly related with hyperprogression and platelet as well.
Wait. Significantly related, or it has to be opposite direction?
Oh yeah, sorry, opposite. So
one is combo.
one is combo, yeah. 0 is only ICI.
So hazard ratio, odds ratio 3
3, yeah.
means what?
Meanings compared to the patients who got combo treatment, patients who got only immunotherapy have 3 more times of risk for hyperprogression.
So you put reference up front. 1 is reference, 0 is the experiment group.
0 is I coded 0 for ICI only regimen.
No, the way you put it here,
Oh,
A versus B. What is your reference? Is it A or B?
reference. So it shows the number that I coded. So 0, I put 0 for ICI only population.
So 0 is your reference.
Right. But weirdly, this R program put the reference to the behind. It doesn't come from, like, I didn't write it this way. I just copied the results of the R.
So look, if you look at here, right side.
Right side.
Isn't the reference equals 0? What's that?
I don't think they took 0 for reference. Maybe they just put 0 behind. I don't know the reason, but I try to code it all the factors into 0 or 1, and I try to make it 0 as my reference, like, but the R put 0 to the behind.
Okay, so 0 group has 3 times more
Risk.
than group 1.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, we can interpret other factors as this way.
And
And
this is all univariate.
no multivariate.
This is all multivariate.
Yeah.
Did you do univariate?
I didn't do it myself because already did it and then he made a table. So I didn't do it myself, but I think I can do it again. So I only consider the univariate analysis done by Yunho. And I try to select the variables for multivariate analysis based on that result. So
For these numbers, did you include PDL1?
oh, for this model, I didn't took it. I didn't took PDL1 as consideration. I just want to compare whether there are how many differences in number depending on PDL1 consideration. So if I don't take PDL1, I can include around definitely more than 150 patients.
Mm-hmm.
Because PDL1, yeah, so many like non-availables for cells are there in terms of PDL1 status. So yeah, so whenever I took in a PDL1 status as in my consideration, the number of observations go down.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather not taking into consideration PDL1 status because yeah, and depending on that model, like ICI regimen even turn into non like effective variable in this model.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether I can consider all the variables.
And then PDL1 itself by univariate, is it?
I don't think so. I didn't actually do it to run a univariate analysis with PDL1, but based on like this multivariate analysis, I doubt there will be a significant difference. As you recommended, I try to categorize PDL1 status into 3, low, medium, high, and then also for I tried 2 as well, didn't I? I tried to classify into 3 or 2 groups, but there was no significant result.
Okay, then take
Yeah.
it out. It's okay
No.
to take out. No.
Okay. Okay, then I will try to find the best model without considering PDL1 status. Yeah. Okay. And I think this is the best model that I've got so far. Like it shows bone metastasis and ICI regimen and PD1 regimen.
Yeah.
And platelet were significantly predicting hyperprogression.
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay, regardless of histology or NL ratio and liver metastasis, brain metastasis. But Dr. Che, do you think I need to consider age or smoking history, whether even if they are not shown to have any impact on hyperprogression, do you think I need to include that factors into this model or?
Yeah.
Yes?
Mhm.
Okay.
But if it changes your
Result?
result too much, then show me.
Okay. Then I'll modify this model, okay, based on this model. Yeah. Okay, and Veristrat, Dr. Che. So the reason that I omit Veristrat is that if I include Veristrat, there's no they're not even model itself. Because I think it's because Veristrat so for Veristrat variable, there are few patients who are eligible to be analyzed. So if we really
How
want,
many?
how many? I think less than 20. That's why this model doesn't work.
So did we try to get more or did we not do it?
Oh, we haven't, honestly. I haven't reached out to Veristrat company and I haven't looked it up for each patient. So I think just for Veristrat, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try, and if I find more patients for analysis, I think I can include Veristrat as well. Yeah. So this is update for UNO's project, hyper progression project, and as Arnie mentioned, we are trying to merge these clinical variables with our own incidence data. So
Hold on. So I want to make it clear. Talk to Sumi first. I don't know what she's done with Veristrat. If she has not done anything about Veristrat, then talk to the company people. See what data you can get and talk to Isil as well. She's involved here as well.
okay,
And for all of our patients, make sure we get all the Veristrat data extracted. And if the answer is but there's none more available,
mhm,
then it's fine. I just want to make sure that 20 is all we got before we make it final.
okay,
And Veristrat doesn't have to be in the multivariate, but it can be presented as a univariate
okay,
in this paper. It hasn't been presented, so I would envision Veristrat data to be abstract, that just Veristrat to be an abstract for the SISC meeting.
oh, for the
Just the Veristrat and the hyperprogression.
just Veristrat and
That
don't
would
need
be like
to
a one
consider-
project,
Okay,
but it
You-
will still be part of this manuscript.
it is manuscript as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanna just make it clear. So you wanna submit just one, the other article, abstract for CC, on the topic of seeing the Veristrat and then the relationship between Veristrat and then hyperprogression, right? Using this.
So that's one abstract. The other one is by the different definition of hyperprogression. That's another abstract.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I think I can move on to the next thing.
Okay.
And yes, for other one, could you have a, could we get checked on our manuscript on Vivian Panu's case report? This is our manuscript as of now.
Is it done?
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Questions?
Could you skim
Yeah.
it through, like, instead of going sentence by sentence, could you do a quick skim through? And then tell us if we're missing anything?
So JCOPO, does it require abstract or not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they don't,
The last time I checked.
yeah,
What about the letter limit for the title? Is this okay?
yeah, I don't think they put
They
letter
just-
limit.
They just say succinctly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
they
not
don't really have much of a,
think so.
they don't have much guideline.
Yeah, they do not include an abstract and there's no limitation on title itself.
Okay, ipilimumab, nivolumab, temsirolimus, everything is generic. It's not brand, so you do not capitalize them everywhere in the article.
Got it.
Capitalized all of.
You don't have to change it now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Can I move on to the,
Wait. Like PDC TC prognosis, the prognosis of PDTC is poor. It reads better.
okay, yep.
Okay, go down. Go down. So sum of target lesion 150, you need a unit. It's 150 millimeter, and it's just right millimeter.
Got it. I'll just note it.
Yeah, same thing. Blood TG level. If you have level, please put the unit.
Unit, okay.
So ctDNA, I say 25 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say a variant allele frequency, and you can use that over and over with the acronym VAF.
Okay,
You can't just say, ctDNA assay show decrease from. Assay is not VAF. Assay tells you many things.
got it.
You have
Yeah.
to say the VAF of the dominant clone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So same thing applies to everything. I'm not gonna mention the same
Got it.
comments.
Got it. The unit thing, yeah.
Okay.
So for discussion, it starts.
So there are many different writing styles. My writing style is start with the first paragraph that tells you why we wrote this. We don't start with introduction again. We start with, this is the first case that showed such and such,
Okay,
and elaborate a little bit more on that. And then you go to the background. Okay.
okay.
The last sentence of the first paragraph, the paucity of data results in a clinically unmet need for new therapy options. I don't know how. So the structure is the data results in.
That's valid. Yeah.
I think there's a better way to express this. Data result in unmet need for new therapy option. It
Okay.
logically, it just don't make sense to me. I think,
Okay.
I would say given these facts that,
There's clinic, there are,
there's a high unmet need for improved treatment options for this disease or something like that. That
okay.
reads better.
Mhm.
It's not like a data is the cause of unmet need. Well, data represent the unmet need. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't like the results in. Because I'm just particular about, like, you have to use the accurate words. So second pair, for PTEN mutation for thyroid cancer. So there's no approved targeted therapy PTEN mutation for any solid tumors, including thyroid cancer. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
Go down. Okay, go down.
It's all,
So I would emphasize more, as well as in the first paragraph of the discussion, as well as the conclusion, that in thyroid cancer, not just the poorly differentiated, but just the thyroid cancer world alone, that this is the first evidence to show that the PTEN could be a good target, and through using mTOR inhibitor, that PTEN can be targeted and used as a viable treatment option for this disease. And it has never been shown in the literature. So this is the first report to show that.
okay.
So
I'll
I
make,
would emphasize that, if you have to have one take-home message, it is, well, I can target PTEN for thyroid cancer because there is this paper, and then I will get that drug pre-certed, paid by the insurance, citing this paper.
mm,
Okay, so
Yeah.
that, and then it's all speculation whether there's a synergy or not. There probably was, but there's no way to prove it. You can argue temsirolimus worked it, not nivolumab, but it is our speculation. There must probably is synergy, but we cannot make that as our highlight. We can continue to say that probably happened, but what happened, what we know for sure is that PTEN was there, and the PTEN directed mTOR inhibition did work.
got
So
it.
I'll emphasize that more.
Yeah, because we've discussed the possibility of synergism in this paragraph, so I won't mention that in conclusion or anywhere else, and then
I mean, you can say there may
Yeah.
be a benefit, it's okay, but but the emphasis is in the on the P10.
P10 itself, and then yeah, the efficacy of that temsirolimus. Yeah,
Okay, any other questions?
we only have figure 1 and figure 2, and yeah, so these are the finalized figure. Figure 1 is like this.
Wait,
See-
wait. Explain. What is what?
I mean, could you explain it? So figure 1A is the, is it moving? Yeah, it's moving. Figure 1A is like it's like the baseline. It's before it's like it's in the May, so it's like the baseline. And also it's like before nivolumab and EP treatment, and B is like after one cycle of nivo and EP. It's like a stable disease, right? It's like the RECIST criteria show it's stable disease. So but based on the picture also it show stable. And we go to picture C. I already changed before the Perry Hillard's note into the liver metastasis picture, and we can see in picture C when it's go to progressive, like we can see the metastasis like really bomb up in the liver. And picture D is like after temsirolimus add-on, we can see that it regress from the left lower knob and also the liver metastatic. Basically, if we count from the tumor burden from it's starting at the baseline and when it's ending, actually it's almost the same. But that's why we need picture C to showing like how when it's go to progressions.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you read through that description, figure
Legend?
description? Yeah. Is that good enough, or should we like put more stuff?
Some people might not understand what one cycle is. So is it 6 weeks of treatment?
Oh, okay.
See if it was 6 weeks or not. So same thing, no capital letter here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
For the drug.
And for figure 2, we so for figure 2, it's basically the 4y axis that we already discussed before, and we already put so this is 4y axis. The yellow one is that thyroglobulin, the blue one is the plasma only ctDNA or Gordon. And the yellow one is tumor informed ctDNA or the Signatera, and like the orange one is the tumor burden by RECIST by millimeter. I put the legend in the upper part of the graphic. This is the graphic, and under we put time from diagnosis. Actually, this is what I discussed with Eugene yesterday. It's actually Vivian Pano is being diagnosed since 2017. But when she come to here, it's like the recurrent, right? So should we still put time from diagnosis or time from recurrent diagnosis? time from recurrence.
Yeah. Yeah. Should what we choose for the X axis, like time from diagnosis or like time from recurrence? And this is when the drugs is started. When the first time she came here, we start Lenvima, and after 1 month we put add-on with Nivo EP. And we put cabozantinib and temsirolimus like 1 month
You
on.
have to put month. I
This
don't
is-
see month.
Month. Okay, we will. There, like we need to denote the no.
Oh yeah,
month,
okay, months. And also
Okay.
it's only like put the X axis with months, right?
Mhm. And we also added some start like mark to denote the progression time point.
Huh. So progression time point and RECIST burden time points are different.
Um,
The progression is started by when We decide from the there's one metastasis and what is like 3.
Oh, yeah, so for the first and the last one, so basically all 3 points marked here, I put it according to the CT scan that detected progression. That,
So I'm not understanding this. That so resist criteria is measured on the day of CT.
mm, okay, then let me check again. Okay, I'm sorry for making everyone confused. Like, I'll just go back and check again the progression. But let's say if I remove all this star mark, is it like good enough? Because there's no like definite marker for like progression itself.
That is resist.
There is resist. Okay, resist is not enough to. Okay,
Yeah, that's enough.
okay.
Okay,
Then I'll just remove it.
I think that's for the picture.
And maybe do something other than yellow, because if you actually publish it, it's not as obvious.
Oh, okay. I
You
will
can
change it
do
to
red or
I will-
purple,
I will change it to
whatever.
purple.
Yeah,
Purple is color.
darker color. Okay.
I will change to purple.
Okay. And as of now, our limitation is almost there. Yeah, but we will figure out to make the discussion, into more presentable way within this limitation.
Okay.
So am I correct to understand that are we okay to submit it after?
Yes, after you fix it,
Uh-huh.
you're fine to submit it. Okay,
Okay.
I have to be in another meeting.
Oh, okay,
So
so
let's pause here.